Hey guys, Richard here with Downgrid Survival. Today I'm going to do a follow-up video on the EcoFlow Wave. It's a video that is long overdue because the truth needs to come out and I need to share some things with you about this particular product. Now, I released a video a couple of months ago when I first got the EcoFlow Wave, and it was more of an unboxing video, and I went through some specs and told you how excited I was to have it. But the truth is, I wasn't able to test it at that time for that video because it was broke. I didn't want to share this information because EcoFlow gave me a very common sense, logical answer that I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And that is, when I reached out to them and told them I was having problems with the unit, they told me that that was one of the very first units they had produced strictly for testing. It was never really intended for retail sale. So understanding that the very first ones coming off the factory line, they're going to be buggy, they're going to be, they're going to have some problems. So with that, I didn't share that with you because I didn't feel that it was relevant at that point. So the problems I was having with the original one was that the compressor was really loud and it chattered really hard, like it was bad. The unit seemed to work fine initially, but then the display started getting glitchy and started flickering and going out, and I was having a hard time getting the unit to turn on. And so that's when I reached out to them, and they told me that these are all known bugs and that they were working through them to get them corrected before they went into full production. So that's fine. They agreed to replace it, send me a new one, but they didn't have one to send me just yet because they were still waiting for their shipment from the factory with all these corrections. So, I just had to put those videos on hold that I had promised. And now here it is. It was about a month and a half later when they started shipping all the new units out to people who had pre-ordered them. That's when I was able to get my hands on one. And I can tell you that this one has been working flawlessly for me. I haven't used it a lot, but through that little bit of testing and things I've done with it, it's been working just fine as advertised. So if you look at the specs and you know what you're getting into, then this is the unit. It's been working fine for me. But there's a few more things that I want to share with you, and it's a little disappointing because, one, when you look at a unit like this that costs this much money, it's pretty pricey for what you get. You're getting an air conditioner that can cool down an 86, according to them, about an 86 square foot space, which is quite small. I mean, that's smaller than most bedrooms. A typical smaller bedroom, a 10 by 10, is 100 square feet, so it's even smaller space than that. And considering that the battery that comes with it is only going to power the unit for about 2 hours, it's an energy hog. We understand that all air conditioners are, but it's the very idea that you're spending this much money and with a battery that's only going to give you about 2 hours of conditioned air. To me, that's just not making a lot of sense. Then, when you consider that EcoFlow's highest rated solar panel is the 400 watt solar panel, this unit wasn't designed to work with that 400 watt solar panel, so you can't even get this thing recharged within a couple hours using that particular solar panel. You have to use one of the smaller ones like the 200 watts. So now you're looking at minimum about 5 hours to recharge this thing if you have really good sun before you can use it again for 2 hours. It's not making sense. To me, this was a great idea, but the technology just isn't there yet. It's more, I hate to say, use the words gimmicky, but it really is. I have lights going out. It really is, and it's disappointing because I had high hopes for it. Here in the preparedness community, I live here in Florida, and my initial thought was, man, this is going to be great for disaster preparedness because when we get tropical storms go through here, the electricity goes out sometimes for a few hours, sometimes for a day or two, or even longer if it's a bigger storm. And I thought this is going to be great because it's going to allow me to cool down a small space, a small room in my home so that my family can get a little relief away from the hot, humid temperatures and the really high humidity that we experience here. But then when you think about, you're only getting 2 hours on this battery, well, sure, I've got the Delta Pro and the Delta Pro Extra battery back here behind me, and I could use those. And with the Delta Pro alone, I could get, up to 12 hours if it's in eco mode. I could get up to 12 hours of cooling But then again, I've got to have a really big solar array to try to get this thing recharged in any amount of time in order for me to continue being able to use this. And it's just not practical because my Delta Pro and Delta Pro Extra battery, well, they're already dedicated for powering my refrigerator in my kitchen, my refrigerator here in the garage, lights, and recharging cell phones, emergency radios, that sort of thing. I can't risk using all that energy just to get a few hours of cool air. It just doesn't make sense. And at a cost of about $3,500 for the Delta Pro, not including solar panels to get it recharged, it doesn't make sense to spend $6,000 on a Delta Pro and all the solar panels on top of $2,000 to get 12 hours worth of air conditioning use. So the bottom line is it's just not real practical for most people. Certainly not practical for me by any stretch of the imagination. Now, they highly market this thing. You've seen the videos about people taking them camping and how great they are, and they cool down your small tent because tent is probably about 86 square feet. But who wants to lug this 50-pound unit into the woods or into your campsite to put it in your tent for 2 hours if you have the attached battery, or for an additional maybe 10 or 12 hours if lugging around the 100-pound Delta Pro? I mean, let's get realistic. How many people are going to do that except for the people that probably did the promo videos? And so that's kind of disappointing. Now, I do know that there's people out there, so before you start throwing all the hate comments at me, I know there's some people out there that have good use of these machines. If you have a space that is not air conditioned, it's kind of small, and you're able to plug this directly into the wall outlet so you have energy coming from your wall outlet, great. That could be a good use of this appliance. For those of you who are long-haul truckers, I've seen quite a few posts on social media where people were scooping these things up because they were putting them in their truck along with a Delta Max or a Delta Pro so that they can so that they can cool down their sleeper cab at night when they're on the side of the road and truck stops. They don't have to keep the diesel engine running because diesel fuel is way too expensive. So they're saving money there by investing in something like this so that they can cool down their space and get a good night's sleep. And then they're able to recharge the Delta Pro or the Delta Max while they're driving across country during the daytime. So that kind of makes sense for them. It's unfortunate that this is so big and the Delta Pro is so big as it takes up a lot of space, and they have very minimal space to begin with in those sleeper cabs. But it is a solution. So I know there's opportunities out there for it to be used. I know people who are doing a lot of conversion, van conversions into living spaces, and they're using those. And if you can put solar panels all across the top of your roof, then that's a way maybe to keep a Delta Max or a Delta Pro charged up pretty well. And you can get some good sleep maybe having one of these in your unit. But I got to tell you, for me, it's just not practical, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say if you think it's practical at all. I would tell you, if you're thinking about purchasing one of these, do some research and make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure you understand the specs. Also, I don't want to. I need to tell you that I'm not so sure that all the bugs have been worked out. Although I haven't had any problems with this particular unit. When you go on social media and start looking, and there is an unofficial EcoFlow Wave social media group that you can participate in, there's quite a few people on there that have talked about problems that they've been having with their units, and quite a few people had to send their units in and get replacements. Stemming from noises coming from the compressor, really loud, or just locked up and didn't work at all, and there's a fan motor inside there, and the fan blades were not attached properly at the factory, and they had to open these things up and tighten down that fan because it was being there flopping, and just some smaller things like that a lot of them are user fixed, user corrected, but for this kind of money it should come right from the factory without any trouble whatsoever. So just make sure you know what you're getting into, and go out on social media and poke around a little bit and see what other people are saying about it. Like I said, I think it's a great idea and concept, and it's an expensive endeavor, but for my use here in the prepping community, it's just not practical at all, and that's about all I've got to say about it. So hey, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, you found it informative. I believe in being transparent with you guys and trying to share good relevant information that is honest and true to help save you time and money. And I do apologize that I wasn't able to get this video out sooner. I have had this new unit now for about a month, and it's just been a little crazy around here, and it was hard for me to get this video produced for you, but nonetheless it's out there now. So give me a thumbs up if you appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new here. Comment down below and I'll answer those questions for you. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.